Hi there, it's Kev from the team. Just wanted to provide you with another lesson in the module on creatives. So in this one, we're actually going to be taking a deep dive into the different creative formats. I've got loads prepared here that we can dive through, a couple of examples for certain ones as well. So let's dive straight in. And we're going to start with a before versus after. So there's quite a common misconception with befores and afters in that they're not allowed on Facebook. That's not the case. However, you do need to be careful when you are running them because what's not allowed is essentially generating a negative self perception in order to get people to buy the products, etc., or maybe use the service, that kind of thing. Okay. So in this one, we have chunks, and this falls under quite a few of the different topics that we are going to cover. In that he is a bit of a minor celebrity. So this could also be considered under the celebrities category of ad, which is obviously really powerful because you get to leverage a celebrity's audience that follows them. And you start to unlock stuff that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this and we'll watch through it, and I'll be talking and discussing on some of the points that we're looking for in a before and after. So from this one, what we can learn is that we're being shown a before and after where we can see Chunks' weight loss journey and how these guys have been able to help him with that. Okay, so the idea becomes that you start to frame it in a really positive way when trying not to generate any negative self perception, as you can see here. But I am going to take a moment to focus on the editing for this. So when we're running video ads, of course, this is niche dependent, but a lot of the times we really need to ensure that our editing is as engaging as possible. And that's often the feedback that I give to people when I'm discussing different parts of the ad. So if we just watch through this, one thing that I'd really like to highlight is how good the editing is. Just immediately we can see the captions, very dynamic. We've got the before, we've got the after, we've got a lot of cuts happening as well. Let's just kind of go through the initial couple of seconds of the video and just identify like how many cuts are happening. So the important thing to remember here is this editing is designed to engage, and a cut will engage people because humans through evolution are designed to identify movement. So if we can see a cut, that's a big change in movement. And so humans will be really trying to stay engaged with content like that. And additionally, it's definitely the kind of content that people are putting out now. Like there's a lot more cuts than perhaps there used to be in Facebook ads. So here we are. Then let's identify like the number of cuts we've got: one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. And notice how it just keeps going. Like we're still engaged because of how quickly the video gets from one scene to the next. Lots of cuts, as you can see here, and therefore we can stay more engaged throughout, and the whole dynamic nature of the ad is really powerful. So we've got cuts going throughout. We've got dynamic captions, we've got movement, we've got changes, we've got a kind of development. We're still showing the brand loads as well. What we're doing is we're interlacing progress with the brand here. Okay, so we see him training, remove the poor diet, introduce simmer, and then we're talking about progress. So, and then we start to develop the idea of the fact that this brand is helping him. And then you see how he's got more progress back to the brand. And then we've got how easy it is. And then we've got a nice little goal to finish off with, just to kind of give that sense of progress. Okay. So that is the before and after, and also covers the celebrity one. I do have another one for celebrity that's a little bit more basic. Okay, this next one is a bulleted list. So here, not quite bullets, but they are just boxes: natural energy, immune support, dairy-free, focus, organic, and then also £1 off every serving for a limited time only. So these guys are really trying to develop a very easy way to show this, all of these benefits and all of these features, but they're trying to do that in a really brand congruent way. And so this is what they've landed on, and this is a really solid ad in this kind of bullet point format. We don't need to spend ages on this one. This one's fairly self-explanatory. All you're going to do is be putting in all these benefits right by a photo of the product. So nice and simple there. Moving on, we've got one from Gymshark, and this is carousels. So this is essentially showing people maybe some more like airport / comfy loungewear vibes, but they want to show a variety of kind of outfits that you could try, and what they're doing here is really clever because they're showing lots of outfits in a very, very native way. And Gymshark have always been kind of very pioneering with the way that they use user-generated content and influencer content. So definitely really intriguing ads to be running. So this is a carousel of the different outfits that you can create with Gymshark's different clothing. So yeah, lots of carousels for Gymshark that they're running. These guys do a fantastic job with all of their content, so definitely worth taking a look at all those. But yeah, we've got carousels there covered by Gymshark. Really interesting vibe that you might want to try yourself. So obviously I'm not suggesting that you can just that if you're not in the clothes industry or something similar that you can't do this. It's the idea that it's native. And so looking at native content that creators produce near your niche or within your niche, and then creating a carousel that kind of piggybacks off that. Okay. Moving on, this is the celebrity one, and this also ties into some of the research that I was showing you guys in a previous lesson in the module, where we now have Young Philly here, who again is a bit of a minor celebrity that's being used as a kind of face for the brand here. He says in one of his reviews of the product that health is wealth, and they have literally taken that and kind of been able to capitalize on what he said there about the brand. And of course, he is going to bring his own following. So when people see this ad who are interested in Young Philly, they're automatically going to stop. Okay, so really powerful stuff there. Next, we've got a feature like benefit point out. All we've got is the product, and we're pointing out different ones, very similar to our bullet point one, but what we're actually doing instead is having like a more dynamic way of showing it. We've got the arrows that are pointing. Sometimes they'll be pointing to specific things. If you imagine like a golf club, for example, there might be an arrow pointing to the handle. There might be an angle pointing to the shaft. discussing how what the best shaft is for that golf club. There might be one pointing to the grooves, pointing to the head. You get the idea how you can have these arrows pointing to different things. Potentially, this like an arrow in this one could point to the chicken, talking about high in protein. Maybe nutrient pack could go something green. Maybe delivered to your front door could have an arrow, maybe going more towards the box, that kind of thing. Yeah. So let's move on now. This I wanted to include as a little bit of a feature benefit point out, as well as but a different way to do it. Okay, so the different way to do it is that you're not using the arrows quite like this. What you're actually doing is using emojis, and also we've got a bit of an us versus them. The them in this scenario is just a mythical other brands. And we compare that with True Classic. So we've got loads of this, like great messaging, loads of focus on benefits here. But we're also mixing a lot of different ones as well. So we've got a statistic up here. We've got a sale up here. We've got an us versus them. We've got feature benefits point out, and we've actually, for the eagle-eyed ones of you, we've actually got bulleted list as well. So huge amount of versatility in this creative. Okay, as we move on, then we move on to the founder video. I'm going to let this founder video run, and then we'll kind of unpack it there. So when we take a look at this ad, there's also that same brilliant editing that we had in the first ad that we were looking at. If you just want to count the cuts in the first 3 seconds here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now we're beyond into the rest of the ad. Additionally, in this ad, we're establishing that this is a founder because it's said in the hook when I tell people I run a meal prep and delivery business. So that is covered in the first 3 seconds, which is really vital because that is going to show people what this ad is going to be about in the very beginning parts of this ad. So when you consider how often or like how long people typically watch for, that is not usually a great length of time, and so having this is really solid because you can cover that in the first 2 seconds, and so before people scroll away, they even know what this ad is about. All right, as we move forward, we actually have some social proof as well here that the amount of meals that this guy's in, he's in clearly a professional environment. And so that builds social proof for people, builds authority. Immediately, we're going to compare after that to a competitor, and we're going to discuss how we're better than competitors in this one. And so we have that kind of initial discussion, and then we move into pain points. Okay, so we're talking about wasting time. Okay, so that is an angle that they're hitting now. Okay, mediocre meals, that's an angle that they're hitting now. And the inference there is that these aren't mediocre meals and that they are very flavoursome. A meme sprinkled in. I really wanted to spend a little bit of time on the meme element because I think this is an area where a lot of people trip up. I think a lot of people, when we discuss memes in marketing, will sometimes rely solely on the meme and like the whole ad will be a meme. That is certainly something that you can test, and if you're in a space where that's acceptable, then you will find that focusing on a meme can be a relevant thing to do. However, notice that this only uses a meme for like 2 seconds, okay, and then we're out of it. Yeah, it's just designed to keep being engaging. We were talking about being engaging, and that's all this Chris Eubank meme is designed to do. And then we're talking about what they offer. They make great food, they make healthy food, but now they're actually comparing themselves to competitors again, where you have to cook and clean afterwards as well. So there are like meal prep services that it can feel like where you have to do a lot of the work yourself, and then scrimping on the protein. So now this is another pain point that they're talking about. So when I say we want to focus on different angles, you can't be afraid to hit multiple angles when you're operating in the video format, because you can just get so much done in the time. This is only a 38-second ad, and so we're between 30 seconds to a minute here, and we're covering so many pain points here. So we respect your time, health, and taste buds. Again, they're trying to build some rapport there, and they're trying to here get some authority and social proof with the Michelin-trained chefs, packed with protein. So they're doing what other brands aren't, and therefore it turns into a bit of an us versus them. Ready to heat and eat in 3 minutes. So now we're talking about the benefits again. Done with trash fast food options. So again, comparing to those fast food chains, because what the idea is here is that for the same price you can eat healthily if you go with simmer. That is what they're trying to get across to you. Okay, here, and then a really soft CTA there that starts today. Okay, so kind of not going with a hard sell at the end. A really hard sell at the end would be maybe something like a discount. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. This is another founder video where, again, there's going to be a big effort to discuss why they founded the brand, comparison with others, and why you should pick this brand in particular. So what you find with founder videos is there's two really important things: comparisons and rapport. Okay, and because we're discussing a founder, that is key. The founder and how they portray themselves is key to developing rapport. Okay. And then it finishes with a silent kind of run through of these ads. Okay. Of these soaps, sorry. So again, pay attention to how engaging this ad is. Okay. So we start off with, from my perspective, this is pretty similar to those like hydraulic press videos that are kind of fall in like the oddly satisfying niche. So for me, this is just designed as a hook. However, I do appreciate the effort that's gone to actually trying to make this relevant to the brand. So it's not just a random thing that's getting cut in half. It's a bar of soap. It's getting cut in half with a chainsaw, and the message here is that it's created for men. So definitely there's some work going into the marketing here for the hook. And then we move into the founder video. Great captions, as usual, by this brand. So definitely some great stuff here. Now we're talking about, or I'd like to talk about the cuts. So we've got this one here. So we've got a lot of cuts from different angles and then to B-roll footage as well. You don't want to leave an ad for too long in this like kind of one shot. So here we're like treading the line of like what is too long. Okay, so he introduces himself, he says what he needs to say, and then we cut. Okay, and then when without getting bored, we don't want people to get bored, so there's lots of cuts going throughout. Okay, so notice how we're cut into all this different B-roll footage throughout this ad. This is really important to keep people engaged. It's not enough to just have like a founder and that it's just a talking head video of them for a minute and a half. It needs to be more dynamic than that. So he talks about why he started it, and how much he really loves the products, that kind of thing. But then he goes into the give back programs. So this is almost like a little bit of like virtue signaling, where it's like, oh, we give to charity, so you can feel good about shopping with us, which is not necessarily a bad thing here, where you're essentially saying, if you work with us, you know that we are dedicated to being a force for good, and that is like one of the things that he says that he's excited about, and he says that he gets a great deal of fulfillment out of the charity work and running the company. From here, we've just got a very, again, it's a soft CTA here, because you've got the choose your smell, and the silent kind of scroll through of the different products. So here, that is a well executed founder video, as is the one from Simmer. Moving on, then we've got a very simple one. This is like a headline / news / press. I would consider this press, but also it does have the headline, and that is a really powerful way of building social proof. Specifically, this works really well for the older demographic. So if you find that you either want to target more of the older demographic, or maybe that is a large part of your audience, this could be a really worthwhile one for you. If you haven't been featured in any press, then what you can do is have a blog article and reformat it so that it looks like press. Okay. And so there's ways around these things, if you don't necessarily have the options available to you right now. So here, that's a very simple one. We don't need to spend a huge amount of time on it, just because let's say you were featured in some kind of press. It's just a direct lift. Notice how, though, here it looks like it's compatible with mobile. That's something that you want to be bearing in mind, because mobile is going to be what a lot of people are going to be exploring your content on. So now we move into negative marketing. This is a trend that's going on right now, where a lot of people are trying to develop the idea of marketing around a negative impact. I do think it's hard to get these right, because it does get a bit gimmicky if you don't execute it correctly, because it can just come across as the hook is negative, but the rest of the video is positive. Okay, so if we just watch this. if we dive into this one in just a little bit more detail, I do think some of these are really good. Stuff like again, remember from one of the previous lessons where we're talking about what do people really want? Well, they want to smell good. That's why you want smelly soap. Okay, and if the soap makes you smell good, why is that important? Okay, so the importance here is that drift into the romantic area again, but the girlfriend won't leave you alone. And so that's more effective, in my opinion, of the negative marketing than just saying, like, oh, the bundle comes with all this. I can appreciate there is a challenge in trying to set up all of these points that you want to cover in the ad. But for me, the idea of the negative marketing works better when you say, like, oh, I've got too much soap now. I've got like, I ended up with three free bricks. And so I've got so much soap that it's like everywhere. My house is filled with it, and I'm addicted to buying more soap and that kind of thing. That's, in my opinion, a really solid execution, or that would be a solid execution of the negative marketing. Next up, we've got the very simple statistic. We don't need to spend too much time on this one. This can be a video, it can be a image, it can even be a carousel as well. But in this, what you can do is you can just put in a statistic that is really punchy and powerful, that shows how good the product is. Okay. For example, here, AG1, 97% of participants felt sustained energy after the 30 days. And they've got the little addendums there, which is right at the bottom there. Pretty hard to read, but if you do spend the time reading it, it's overall like really positive stuff. So they haven't put anything in this ad that can trip them up. Okay, but really solid use of a statistic there. Now we're going to look at UGC and this idea of using UGC as a bit of social proof. So let's dive into this one. So here we've got a style of video that is very congruent with stuff that creators in the space will be making. Yeah, this looks like organic content, and even as it shows the ad, it looks organic. It's only when we start drifting into the social proof, which is a good element and a positive thing, that you start to realize it's not an ad. Okay, and then we start drifting into the social proof, or more of the social proof, and then we are cutting in between different UGC creators. This is really good and really powerful because throughout this, we are clearly using UGC that is being generated by younger females. Okay, so the idea here is that this is going to appeal to younger females more than anyone else. But also, we still get that social proof because there's a variety of these creators that fit that demographic. So while they are all young females, there are different ones, and therefore the brain thinks, oh, more people are trying this than just one person, and therefore it starts to build social proof. Okay, and as well, when you start factoring in the reviews that they've put in there, you start to see, oh, a lot of the point of this is trying to build social proof. So this is UGC trying to hit social proof lines, and then also you get that in the copy as well. So nice and congruency there. Brilliant stuff on that one. So this is another one by the same brand, but this is an us versus them. We did do an us versus them earlier on True Classic, here, but wanted to show another one. So here is one of those where we get to see Mudwater versus what is a Starbucks cup. I'd actually be a little bit more careful on this in terms of the branding myself, just because I'm more interested in like longevity. As it happens, like Starbucks is a fairly global brand, so not sure about the choice there or whether it would be a positive or negative one. But either way, we have an us versus them here. Okay. Additionally, at the bottom, nice bit of social proof. Okay. This is very simple. It's essentially a split down the middle. Typically, you'll see it more of a classic split like this. But this is two images, and we have like the checkboxes of how much the price is, and then other comparisons that make you look better than your competitor. Additionally, don't be afraid to try something new. This is the last one that I wanted to cover just because I see ads like this and I think that they're really unique. There's a lot of Notes app ads that are going around at the moment. So people writing in their Notes app, maybe they write in their Notes app and they have them green screened in front of their Notes app. Maybe they have an image of a text chain. And this is like, this is new. It's interesting. It's intriguing. I think quite often people are going to engage with this at least by stopping the scroll, because it's the kind of content that you don't associate this with being an ad, so you don't get that banner blindness and automatically scroll past. So I know this has been a pretty intense half an hour deep dive, but I really wanted to give you some usable tools here. These are all different creative formats and secondary formats that you can use in your ad creation. Okay, so I wanted to give you some solid, actionable information here. These are all ones you can use as you develop your ads, and they're all strings to your bow that should help you with creative development. Okay, hope this helps.